G'day and welcome to another episode of Ian Smissen's Photography. We're here on the Pembrokeshire coast in Wales at a place called Green Bridge for obvious reasons. Sorry about the wobbly camera, it is seriously windy here. So I won't be doing any talk to camera while I'm actually shooting because I'm just too close to the edge and I need to concentrate on what I'm doing. I don't want me or my gear to end up at the bottom of this cliff. So what I'm trying to shoot here is obviously this bridge. At the moment, and if I swing the camera around past the beautiful Joe and show you where the sun is setting, it's pretty cloudy, but there's a gap below those clouds and I'm hoping that the sun's going to pop through there and light up the cloud in the background here. We could be lucky, but as with most landscape photography, you just wait and see. Now you probably can't see it with the glare of the sun, but those caves and arches under there is what we were standing on to shoot this way down to the bridge, which is just below us here. Spectacular coast, but one day it's not going to be here. It's not often in shooting wild seascapes like this that you have the problem of getting your own shadow in the shot, but you may be able to see my shadow just sitting here on these cliff tops here with me trying to shoot these two big stacks here with that beautiful sunlit tilted rock coastline in the background. But I'm going to give this a shot and see what I can do with it and maybe crop it, maybe manipulate a little bit in Photoshop later, or maybe just put up with the self-portrait. So this is the next shot. It's actually much darker than it looks on the video screen here. I really like the sort of horseshoe shape around these two stacks. So I'm going to take a couple of shots here with a 20mm lens. 24 is not quite big enough to get that whole width of the horseshoe in this cove in. And then I'm going to put a 24-70 on and zoom in just onto the stacks and that cliff face on the right to try and shoot something a little bit different. Everybody here shoots the wide grand angle view, but I want to just shoot something a little bit different, and I'll put a neutral density filter on to try and slow the shutter speed down to blur out the water completely. So it's really just a shot that's emphasizing these three big chunks of rock and the grain in that rock. It's such a beautiful structure that I don't want to distract it by including the rest of the waves and the cove and things around it. That's a nice enough shot in itself, and I'll show it to you right now. But I think I like the more unusual shot that's just looking at those stacks. I'm walking back from the stacks towards Green Bridge. Sorry, I've just got to watch where I'm walking here. I might trip over and end up over the cliff. It's such a beautiful coastline here. And there are so many places to shoot from. But when you get to a spot, you've got to have a look around and try and find somewhere that's a little bit different, or that you can start to think about shapes, colour, texture, and how you can compose a shot that's more than just a postcard capture of a beautiful place. Very easy to come to a beautiful place and point the camera at it and go click, but you can buy a postcard for 50 cents or 50p at the local gift shop that will give you probably a better shot than you'll get, because it was taken at the perfect time of day for that sort of shot. So try and look for something a little bit different, or wait for the light to give you something a little bit different, so that you can get something that's more about you and what the place makes you feel like, rather than what it just looks like. So I'm about to go through a gate here, and I'll have another chat to you when I get back to the Green Bridge and see what I can find to shoot there. If I just spin you around here, you can see the sun is about to set in about 20 or 30 minutes, and there's a grey band of cloud now that's come down around that, but there's still just a little bit on the horizon that gives me an inkling of a chance of getting some colour. But you've got to be here to get it. So we're going to wait it out, see what we can get, and if we get nothing, it's such a great place. You can just sit and watch the sea. So back again. The light really isn't happening, but that's no excuse to stop taking photographs. As somebody once said, pixels are free, so experiment. You're here, you're in a beautiful place, a fantastic location. In my case, I may never be here again. This has cost me thousands of dollars and time out of a holiday with my wife to come down here and shoot a fantastic location. So there's no excuse not to try and get the most out of it. The light's just going to drop off a little bit, but now the advantage I have is I have a very even light. There's still just a little bit much brightness in the sky, but I can fix that with a graduated neutral density filter, and then I can just play with timing. The waves crashing up against the rocks here give me an opportunity to shoot a really fast shutter speed. I might have to bump the ISO up now because it's getting a little bit dark, but I can shoot some really fast shutter speeds to try and capture the action in those waves. And then I can also start to shoot slower and slower shutter speeds just to see what effect it has and choose the one that I like the most. Particularly with slow shutter speed, long exposures, it's often very difficult to tell in advance exactly what you're going to get and what you're going to like the most. So give a few shots a go and see what you like. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take all the filters off here and just shoot a standard shot, f11, no filters on at all, just as a test shot, as a starting point to see where I go at ISO 100. And I'll find out what shutter speed that gives me. Actually, I do have a polarizing filter on, which will take about a stop and a half out. I'm not going to take that off. I'll turn that so that it's neutral. It's not having any polarizing effect. Takes about a stop and a half of light out. But at f11 ISO 100, I'm shooting there at 0.6 of a second. So I'm going to take that as a test shot just to get the composition right. And then I'm going to take a series of shots at different shutter speeds just to see which ones I prefer. So I'll show you those once they're done. And while you're messing around with shutter speeds, try zooming in, changing lenses, just changing your position slightly to get different framing and different compositions. On a shot like this, where, hold on, I'm going to just run around here. Say hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Say hi, Joe, again. So from up here, and you can see where the camera is right on the edge of the cliff here, there are only so many places you can shoot from. The ideal shot obviously is as close as you're willing to get to the cliff edge, but a word on safety, please don't be stupid. Just do the right thing for you and the people around you and the idiots that are going to try and do this after you if you show them something stupid. But if you move around a little bit, you can change the angles between things in your shot. I'm not shooting with any foreground here, but if you've got a foreground, raise the camera, lower the camera, move slightly left, slightly right. Zoom in a little bit, zoom out a little bit. Just try something different. So the sun is now set. A little bit of pink in the sky over there, but nothing where we're looking here. But I'm going to try a couple more shots, just closing in a little bit and focusing on the rocks and the sea, cutting the horizon out completely, just like I did before with the stacks further around the coast. But in this case, I'm going to try with these rocks here, and again, vary the shutter speed a little bit to try and get the right amount of blur in the water to tell the story that you want to tell. So I think that's it from here. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, tell your friends, press the little bell, wave at your wife, do all those things, and remember, pixels are free, so get out there and shoot more.